crowd had an effect on the game. It's not dead. A long way to go. In fact, I talked to Joe Lunardi on the Texas A&M Vanderbilt broadcast on Saturday night during the game. I know a lot of people hate when that happens.
Yep.
I don't particularly love it, but it wasn't my decision. And so I asked Joe Lunardi. I was like, hey, what about Mississippi State? Because you've kind of had them like in the conversation but out on the edge. And he said that, he told me that currently they would be like 83rd. So if you're seeding 1 through 68, following their win against TCU, Mississippi State would be 83rd. So that's 78, 15 spots off the bubble. Okay. You can make a move from there. That is not an easy move to make. Not an easy move by any stretch of the imagination because of what they've done in the first half of conference play. There's very little margin for error for Mississippi State, but you are right in your text at Richard that basketball isn't dead in Starkville. You're right.
Yeah. The margin for error is thin, there's no doubt, but I do get a kick out of people when they're in like it's early February and their team's in the last 4 out and they lose a game and they're like, it's over. As if the other teams on the bubble will also not lose.
Yeah.
There's a reason they're on the bubble.
If you're a bubble team, you're going to have good moments and you're going to have bad moments down the stretch. And you just try to navigate it the best you can, and have more good moments than you do bad moments. But there's a larger point. I hope that text is not just about the NCAA tournament, because to me, hey, Dad, the larger context, if there is a larger context, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here, of that text is that there's some excitement around Mississippi State basketball. And people are invested and people are buying in. And maybe or maybe not on the NCAA tournament this year. Maybe, maybe not. But that doesn't have to be the only metric used. Teams playing hard, if fans are excited about the future, if there's some buy-in, there's no reason it can't be fun. The ascent can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so, to that end, job well done, Bulldog fans, on Saturday afternoon. Especially students, right?
I think it was a good crowd altogether, but the students did a great job. And I really think, State plays South Carolina tomorrow. That's a game they're going to be favored to win. If they can win that game, they have Missouri coming in for I think it's a quad one opportunity. I think if you play a top 50 net team at home, that's a quad one chance. And if that's the case, big game Saturday in Starkville, 5 o'clock tip. I think you could have a really big crowd there, and that's a fun thing to say after this past decade of games. And I thought Robbie Falk on the Thunder and Lightning podcast made a really good point. He said, in any previous season, losing 8 out of 9, there would have been 2,000 people at the game on Saturday, maybe. There wouldn't have been anybody there. They would have not cared. They would have just given up. But the way this team has played this year and the way they play basketball has people excited and buying into the future under Chris Chan. So far, so good in terms of, they needed that win, but now they need to stack some wins together, and then we'll see where it takes us. But, when they play Arkansas on, I think that's the 18th? I think that's right. No, they play Ole Miss on the 18th. I think they play Arkansas on the 11th. If they win these next, 3 games, which are winnable, right? South Carolina, Missouri, LSU, and they're 16-8 when they go to Arkansas, that game has big meaning for Mississippi State.
Is the Missouri game home or road?
It's home. You're at Columbia tomorrow. Then you have back-to-back home games with Missouri and LSU. Need to win them.
South Carolina, LSU absolutely should win. Missouri's tricky. I'm not sure Missouri's getting the credit they deserve, but that's a pretty...
They're good. It's a good team.
They're a fun team. I don't know how good they are yet, but they are a fun team, and they play a style where if they're making shots,
they beat the heck out of a top 12 team yesterday or Saturday.
They did. Hey, here's your quad one definition. Home game,
give it to me.
1 through 30 in the net. 1 through 30 for a home game, 1 through 50 for a neutral site game, and 1 through 75 for a road game.
Okay.
So it's got to be a top.
State doesn't
30.
have any quad. Yeah. State doesn't have any quad 2 wins at all. They're 0-3. So getting some of those would be good. State has 3 quad 1 wins right this second, which is great.
Yeah.
And of course they're undefeated against quad 3 and quad 4, but they could use some quad 2 wins to boost that resume up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that opportunity will exist. But with South Carolina and LSU, two of those next three you're talking about quad 3 and quad 4. I guess those are quad 3 games.
Yeah, quad. Yeah, I bet South Carolina their net is 278. I bet that's a quad 4 game for wherever you play it.
Yeah. And then what's LSU?
They're like a 106, I think.
Okay, that'll be quad 3. That'll be quad 3. And then what is, just for curiosity, what's Missouri?
They're in the 40s.
Okay, so it'll be a quad 2 at home.
Yeah.
Sports Talk Mississippi with you, stream.